Hey guys, I wanted to come to you today and talk a little bit about infertility, miscarriage, TTC, all that good old stuff. Just share a little bit of my story and my journey and see if it'll help you guys along. Stay tuned. Okay, so this journey began for me in 2018. Excuse me. I've been sick. Anyway, I'll explain that later. It started for me in 2018. So I was pregnant, and then I went in May of 2018 for my 12-week checkup. They were doing the first ultrasound, and so I got there for that, and there was no heartbeat is what they said. So when they got me up on the screen and everything, you could see the fetus hadn't developed past 7 weeks and 3 days. And at that point, I was supposed to be at 12.5. So that was my first miscarriage. They did a D&C for that. So once they did that, I was having bleeding. Like, the bleeding just wouldn't stop. It was spotting off and on, coming on heavy, coming on light. I started looking to the herbs to kind of cleanse myself out. So I started drinking like my Fit with Hips tea, and just looking for natural remedies to kind of flush out my uterus and ovaries and things like that. So the bleeding continued, so I went back to my doctor when I went for a regular PAP. This is in August of 2018. When I go in there for that, I'm like, I've had this bleeding off and on pretty much all summer. And he's like, oh, let's get you checked out. Let's see what's going on. We did the D&C, everything, seemed okay. So we go in there for that. So he does an ultrasound that day at the appointment. And he's like, there is, actually, they did a urine test. And they're like, well, you got HCG, so let's do the ultrasound. That's what resulted in the ultrasound. And he said that there was some tissue in there that I likely was having a miscarriage or had one. So they also looked, and he said that he just wanted to take a look around and do a hyperoscopy, something like that. So we do that, and then he said with that tissue we're going to remove it. So I did a hyperoscopy and another D&C in September 2018. So that's the second miscarriage. So from there, for that one, I was a little bit more prepared. What I had done was I was drinking my herbal teas that entire week up into the procedure, because I knew all the bleeding I had from the first procedure, and it was just too much for me. So with this second procedure, I was, drinking my teas. I was in the middle of a juice cleanse, which I had to keep doing. I didn't want to stop that. And so the bleeding wasn't as heavy with that. He also said during that procedure, when they went in, the hyperoscopy, I know I'm saying it wrong, is when they go in. When they go in. Oh my God, I know I said the word wrong. Okay, so the procedure is where they go in to the uterus and all that with a camera, so they can actually see what's up there and what they're cleaning out. Me, personally, I don't understand why all D&Cs aren't done this way. Like, they're just going in there blind scraping stuff out. Oops, I hope, I think, and pray I got it all. They should do all of them with a camera. So he went in with the camera. He got the fetal tissue out. And then he also said he saw a polyp, so he removed that. That was fine. I think I bled like 3-4 days and just moved on from that. with that, I really kind of just, it took a toll on me mentally. I really got heavy into my juicing, um, and fasting, and my spiritual stuff that I do, just to kind of take my mind off of it. So fast forward, we are in April of 2019, and so I found out I was pregnant, I think in March, because we had went on a cruise in January, and I just wasn't feeling well. I just felt so sick on the boat the whole time, and I don't even I don't get seasick because we cruise all the time. But anyway, I found out I was pregnant. March, I had an appointment, and so then I go back in what day is it? Towards the end of March, because I was pretty far along in this one. We they don't do the gender. If you don't opt for the genetic test, my doctor doesn't do the gender scan until like 20 weeks. So we paid for an outside scan that will tell you at 14 weeks. So at my 14 week one day, I scheduled it. It was on a Saturday. So we get to that appointment. We're all happy, pay for everything, pick out a little plan. And we get back to the room, and the lady's like, when was the last time you saw your doctor? And I'm like, I just saw them 2 weeks ago. Oh, because there is no fetal pole. And I'm like, what? And she's like showing me on the screen. She's like, there's no heartbeat. And she's like, you're measuring 13.7. So we should definitely be able to see one. So they took us out, and we signed this little paper, that they didn't complete it. There's no heartbeat. They referred me to see my doctor. So I call them. Their on-call doctor, she's like, come in first thing Monday, because sometimes those outside facilities don't know what they're doing. Just come in and we'll get this figured out. I'm pretty sure it's nothing. So we get there Monday morning, and there is no heartbeat. And so we're kind of in the room, kind of looking crazy, me and two other of the doctors. And so they're like, well, you're 14 weeks, such and such. So they get me set up to do a D&E, which is like a D&C, but it's second trimester, so it's considered a D&E. So that was the third miscarriage. So 2 in 2018, 1 in 2019. And so they did the D&E. I was heavy on my herbs, juicing, fasting, eating regularly. I had just kind of got into like keto. I think I might have been on I don't know. I think I might have been on the regular keto. I don't know what I was doing. Who knows? But for that one, I literally bled one day because I feel it's because I was on herbs. I only bled that one day that I came home from the hospital after that D&E, and then I continued my herbs throughout. At that time, that's when I had formulated the concoction to really flush my fallopian tubes and my uterus to kind of just prepare me for conception again. But you have to have another cycle before. I was just like, let me see when my cycle comes. Because after you have a baby or a miscarriage, a D&C, D&E, anything, even if like you go have an abortion. So you don't know when your period's coming because, now you're off track. You have to wait for a cycle. So I had waited for a cycle to come in May, and I got it. So that kind of put me back on track with when my cycle was going to come. So during that time of waiting, I was looking to see, what herbs I can take. So what I started on after that cycle in May was the serapeptase. I did the 40,000 SPUs with the serapeptase. I didn't do the, I know there's one out there that's really, really high potency, really, really strong. I didn't do that one. I did the 40,000 one. I did turmeric, ashwagandha root, some Chinese herbs, the Mu Cao and the Mu Cao. And I'll list all of those down there. And I put it all together. I don't know why I keep... Oh, God. I guess I'm having acid reflux. Anyway, I put it all together. And, you know, I took it as a dose. Some people will take it separately, do the Chinese tea separate, and then the serapeptase separate, then the, you know, other things separate. For me, in the research I was doing, it was easier on me and my body, my stomach, to do it all together in a dosage. And so I took that, and I continued to take that. I stopped it each month. So after my period May, I started taking it. Before each cycle, June, July, August, September, I stopped it. Because you don't want to take those. You're flushing out your fallopian tubes and your uterus. So you don't want to take those herbs around the time you're getting your cycle, just in case you do conceive. You don't just want to flush the egg out that you didn't work this hard to get. So I continue to take those, and then June, July, August, September, I got my cycle. I was on a monthly schedule, a regular schedule, regular cycle, regular flow. I did notice during that time, I did see some, you know, stuff come out, which indicated it was working. I was taking it in a powder form. I even created capsules out of it because it was doing what it needed to do. I was like, okay, I'm going to continue this on. And I'll be posting about the capsules as well, so you guys can get those. And so come October, I did a pregnancy test, and it was positive. So roughly about a 5 to 6 month time frame from when I had the miscarriage to when I conceived again, off of those herbs. And again, I'm gonna list them and show them for you guys, so you guys can see what they are. But they work really well for me. So October, the pregnancy test was positive. And I'm gonna show I'm gonna show the chart, because I kind of really got into this and was just kind of documenting my progress, especially once I started testing. I went online to Amazon. I brought a kit of pregnancy tests because they are expensive, and I didn't have time. It was too much money, too much emotion in it. Like, if you're going to take a pregnancy test, you expecting some good results. And when you get a negative, like, oh my goodness, I just spent $7 to $15, $20 on this test. So I went on, I went on Amazon and got a kit. I believe I got 25 test strips, and it came with 25 cups to be in. And I think that was like $7 or $8 on Amazon. It might have been 10 or 12. Anyway, I got 25 tests for that much. So I was testing, and I'm like, oh, is this really happening? And so I went to the doctor. They confirmed everything, and things have been, going well since then. That was October of 2019 that I got the result. And so they've been monitoring me, because they did consider me high risk, because I had 3 miscarriages. So this is just to let you know, the first time, second time you don't succeed, if it's something you want to do, keep doing it. I mean, for me, We weren't so much trying to conceive because it was just, if it happens, it happens. We both were kind of just like out of whack about it. But once I started researching and testing the herbs, I needed a test dummy. So, which resulted in it being myself. And it worked. So, your journey is not over. It's just beginning. It does work. It does take time. But I will say, during the times, I definitely had to clean up my eating. I had to change the way I was eating. I had to continue to take my herbal teas, and continue to get my exercise in. And it definitely helped. The combination of all three helped. Doing the herbs, watching my eating, and, staying active and exercising definitely is what worked. So your journey's not over. You still can do it. You still have time. It's just a matter of being patient with yourself. I see a lot of people out there, they're like, oh, it should happen within 3 months, or if you're taking this and that, or buy this kit or whatever offline. And not everybody works like that. Not everybody has time to be laid up doing castor oil packs and all this stuff. When the focus really needs to be on getting the tubes and your uterus cleaned out so your body can prepare. And a lot of us don't even know we need to have it flushed out because you're having a period and you just think your periods, you just have a heavy period. It's not the case that something's not right, or you just have a really, really light period. That's not always the case. You still got to flush it out. You still have to get that lining out. And a lot of us don't know we have leftover period in there from the previous month. Then you start another cycle. It's just building on. And next thing you know, we're having polyps and endometriosis, all these different things going on with us. Fibroids and things developing. So these herbs really do help get rid of that stuff. And those of you who are having endometriosis and fibroids and are still trying to conceive, yes, the process may be a little longer for you, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. So I would just stay prayed up. I'm going to go ahead and list and post what I took because I'm now 23 weeks and my pregnancy definitely, like I was stating, they started at high risk. So I do see my OB and a maternal fetal specialist. I also I also saw a hematologist. I see a heart doctor. But in combination of all of that, all of them are saying, I'm having a good, healthy pregnancy. They don't foresee anything. And then I've also had a previous C-section, so they feel like I'm a good candidate for a VBAC. So, the time is there. The journey is yours. And so you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I wasn't even trying to do it. I was just trying to test and come up with some stuff to help other people. And here I am. So I guess this is what was meant to be. Good luck.